Thank you. Item 3.2, report of action taken in closed session as to item 2.1, a motion was made by Board Member Hirota and seconded by Board Member Constant to approve the item, to approve a settlement agreement, and the vote was 5-0 unanimous in the affirmative. Item 2.2 was to approve a settlement agreement, and motion was made by Board Member Constant. I forgot my glasses, sorry. Board Member Constant, seconded by Board Member Hirota. And the vote was 5-0 unanimous in the affirmative. 2.3 we're going to skip for just a moment. Item 2.4 was an approval of a resolution to dismiss a public employee. Motion was made by Board Member Constant, seconded by Board Member Hirota. Vote was 5-0 unanimous in the affirmative. As item 2.5, public employee discipline, to release a public employee. The motion is made by Board Member Hirota, seconded by Board Member Hall. Vote was 5-0 unanimous in the affirmative. As item 2.6 and 2.7, no reportable action was taken. As to item 2.3, it needs to be dealt with in open session regarding pupil personnel for matter number 03-2223. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Board Member Constant. Is there a second? Second by Board Member Franz. Let's do a roll call vote, please.
Yes, P. Constant?
Yep.
Marla France?
Yes.
Heidi Hall?
Yes.
Julie Hirota?
Yes.
And Scott Huber?
Yes. Motion passes 5-0 unanimous in the affirmative. That concludes the report out of closed session. I'm going to, because we have some conflicting items tonight, item 6.2 I'm going to move up to right now, which is a resolution regarding veterans. There are some other activities going on. I'm sorry, 6.1 regarding veterans. There are some other activities going on, so I'd like to take 6.1 now, if that's okay with permission of the board. Oh yeah, okay, meeting protocols. Yeah. So, let me get back to there. Okay, for meeting protocols, as we typically do, members of the public can have an opportunity to speak on any item that's on the agenda or any item not on the agenda within the subject matter jurisdiction of the board. If you want to speak on an item on the agenda, we'll call those as the item is called. We have white speaker cards. If you'd be so kind as to fill one out, turn it in to Barbara or someone, we'll pass it down. But if you'd hand that in so that way we can have some order. As to items that are not on the agenda, item 3.7, or for any item, if 10 cards or more are turned in, the time is reduced from 3 minutes to 90 seconds. As to item 3.7, for items not on the agenda, we do have more than 10 speaker cards, so your time to speak will be 90 seconds. Just plan accordingly. But item 4, not 4. Let's take item 6.1, Resolution 2229. Let's see. Enough discussion of that item, or do we want to just go ahead and open up the public comment?
This is our annual resolution in honor of Veterans Day, and we are pleased to support this and bring this forward, so we move forward.
Yeah, thank you. There are two things here. One is an annual thing about Veterans Day. The other one is we're specifically mentioning that because of the importance of service in the armed forces, that members of the military for recruitment purposes at appropriate times may be allowed on campus for recruitment. Do we have any public speakers on this item? I do have one, I believe. Mr. Mortensen, please.
Thank you to the board and everybody that's here tonight. I know there is a lot of recruiters and a lot of military people. There's a big, giant veterans celebration in downtown Roseville, which is where I'm headed to now, or I'm sure there'd be a lot of people here. I guess I'll start. Oh, you've already got me going. Okay. 46 years ago, almost to this day, my immigrant father sat me down on a sofa and explained to me something I knew already to be true. That should I choose to go to college, I would need to fund it on my own. 2 years later, in the quad of my high school, I would strike up a conversation with a Navy recruiter. He would tell me about the opportunities that could possibly lay before me. 1 year later, and 43 years ago, as a high school senior, I actively pursued that and enlisted. At that time, I had little idea about how that decision and those opportunities would shape the rest of my life. The lessons learned and the skills acquired would be powerful and plentiful for me. To start, I learned determination and lost the idea of quitting as an option, something I'd done too often as a teenager when things got too hard. I would learn attention to detail in my first school because I was in weapons division. There was no room for error. A failing grade in that school and throughout it was 99% on any test. When I finally got to my command and completed two tours in Western Pacific and one in Central America, I would learn the most valuable lesson of working together with others in common purpose and common cause towards something greater than myself. 37 years ago, while instructing a class on the assembly, disassembly operation of the M14 rifle, a spark ignited in me, and I learned the joy of teaching. That spark and joy resides in me to this day. Fast forward 37 years from that time to last June, I would learn a sad and disturbing lesson. While attending an educator workshop in my week with the Marines, I would learn that 30% of high schools in our western United States have barred recruiters from the taxpayers' high schools, do not allow their students to see those opportunities that I had laid before me. Those opportunities that inexorably changed my life. I'm thankful to work for a district that values all post-high school opportunities and honors our veterans, those noble people serving currently, and those that are considering serving. Tonight, by passing both the resolution and Board Policy 1400, you acknowledge and codify that those opportunities will not be denied to our high school students now or in the future. I want to thank Superintendent Becker.
He is celebrating his anniversary.
Brad, you're in the spot, okay? And you as
No,
well.
Doc-
I want to thank Superintendent Becker, our principals, our cabinet, and our school board members for supporting tonight's resolution for passing Board Policy 1400. Thank you for acknowledging that those post-high school opportunities that changed my life are still valuable for our students today. The military service opportunities, though difficult and not without peril, are still a noble endeavor. I'm grateful. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else wish to speak on item 6.1? Okay, and as Mr. Mortensen did mention, there's also some corollary with item 4.12. There is a policy in there that relates to this. It is Board Policy 1400. Board Policy 1400. So, board members, any questions, comments? Is there a motion?
Just a
Please,
comment.
please.
I just want to thank our staff for bringing this forward. You know, every year we as a country celebrate Veterans Day, but I think it's important for us as an organization to recognize how many members of our faculty and staff are veterans, how many of our former students either have served or are serving now. So I just think it's important that we always take this time to stop, think about them, and thank them for their service.
Else? I'll make a similar comment, and I want to include one other group of individuals. We have, of course, in recent history, lost some individuals who graduated from our schools. One of them hit me hard. I handed a diploma to him. Motion?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second? All right, it's been moved by Board Member Constant, seconded by Board Member Hirota. All those in favor, please say aye. Oh, it's a resolution. I'm sorry. Roll call vote, please.
Yes, let's check in with our students first, please. Autumn
Oh, please.
Ostrom. And Kate Benevento. Pete Constant.
Yes.
Marla France. Heidi Hall. Julie Hirota. And Scott Huber.
Yes. Thank you. And Mr. Mortensen, thank you for your comments. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Let me go back now because I think we skipped over a couple things in item number 3. We did the protocols. 3.4 communications.
Yes, we have a number of communications this evening. First, we'd like to start with communications from Market Share PR. We partner with them, as you know, for our marketing and outreach. And they have recently received 2 awards for the work that they do in partnership with us. The first is for their work with our Auto Tech program over at Adelante and Adult School. And they did a number of items, including a media open house that they partnered with us on. And as a result, that segment on NBC reached more than 300,000 viewers and helped fill the classes this fall to capacity, and a lot of community interest was generated. And the second award they received was for their recent work with Independence High School, Roseville Pathways, and the rebranding, with a variety of videos and website and other print materials, and are part of our success in the increased enrollment numbers at Roseville Pathways for this fall. So we appreciate our partnership with Market Share and congratulate them on those recent awards. In addition, we've received some communication from the Division of State Architect, DSA, on several items. The first was that the cellular pole tower project at Oakmont High School and Wood Creek High School have been completed in accordance with documents approved, so that is complete. And then some additional communication that the cell tower at Granite Bay High School did have an outstanding invoice in the amount of $881.66. And the final verified reports had not yet been received. Our staff are following up with the vendor and working with them to get all of that completed. In addition, the HVAC upgrade at the gym industrial tech buildings at Wood Creek High School, the final reports had not yet been received by DSA, and the final project reports submitted. So once again, our staff are following up with the vendor and making sure that that all gets completed. And then finally, Placer County Office of Education did complete their Williams school visits. Independence High School had been selected from our district to participate for review, which includes a variety of things, including facilities, textbooks, instructional materials, and the like. They did an audit of materials as well as came on campus to inspect, and they found to have no findings. And in addition, working with HR, no teacher misassignments and no teacher vacancies. So all good there. We appreciate the teams at the district office and Independence High School for working with PCOE on that. And that concludes our communications for this evening.
Thank you. Okay, 3.5 committee reports.
Policy Committee, we met on October 28th. You'll see an item in our consent agenda 4.12 that has our recommendations. As you know, our policy changes fall into a couple of different buckets: new laws and changed laws. We're also been working through an audit of all of our policies and a transition to the gamut system. So some of our amendments are to sort of bring things in line, and then we have deletions for things that are no longer applicable. Pretty much everything you're going to see in here falls into those categories. None of these are new policies that the policy committee or the board has worked on. And then just a week from tomorrow, the policy committee will meet again, as well as the facilities and finance committee.
Terrific. Any other comments, thoughts? Okay, student board representative reports, 3.6. Let's go to, let's see, how about, Katie, is it Benevento? Benevento, please. Pathways.
Yes.
Yes.
In regards to Roseville Pathways, everything has been going very smoothly so far. We actually have our second, I believe, week. Oh my God, in student government. So we have a culture planned and activities for students to engage with one another and get them back on campus. And then we also have Point Break next Tuesday, which is regarding, it's kind of an off-campus workshop where students can get together and interact with each other and kind of talk about things you might not do at school regarding like emotional health and well-being. So everything has been going smoothly, and I'll give it to Autumn.
Thank you. Thank you guys. Sorry.
Mentioning those activities, since the merger, right? I have not heard of that many activities before, and now it seems like
Things
you're
are
starting to
picking
get some
up.
steam.
Yeah.
And so I congratulate. I suspect that you're highly involved in that, and I congratulate you on that.
Thank you.
So, Autumn, you're up.
Okay, thank you guys so much for having me here. I know everybody has a lot to say, so I appreciate you guys giving me time to talk. We've had some pretty big events this year, and everything's been going really smoothly, especially coming off just like having it be our first normal event since COVID has been going really well. We had our homecoming, and it went very smoothly. We had a rally, a parade, and a dance, and it got a lot of participation. Even Miss Hall attended, and thank you very much for coming. It was a lot of fun. We are currently running our canned food drive and our Toys for Tots for just the community. And we are planning our High School on the Hill, which is an event to host incoming freshmen and teach them more about our high school. We were doing this event very much earlier in the year due to the declining population at Roseville, and our format for the event has changed a lot this year to be much more interactive and serve much more like a hands-on showcase to showcase the school and our courses. So we're hoping that with it being earlier, we can maybe help the declining population this year. And right now we're also planning Interleague, which is an event where 20 plus student government programs come together to just share ideas for future events. So I'm looking forward to that, and it's the main events that we've been planning. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Any questions, board member? Any questions of our student board members? Excellent job. Thank you. Okay, item 3.7, public comment. This is the time where the public can address the board on any matter not on the agenda. As I mentioned, we do have more than 10 speaker cards, so we'll have the minute and 30 or 90 seconds for each of you. I'll go ahead and just call your name, and I'll call the next two. So I'll call the speaker and then the next two. So, you know, be ready if you're on in the on deck circle, so to speak. First will be Patrick Luby, and then Donna Sanguin, and Melissa Jones. Patrick.
There's a fee structure in the district system that is hurting our aquatics groups. When Granite Bay High School opened its new pool, the hourly rate increased by 128%, from $55 to $125 an hour. The winter hour rates increased to $3,500 a week with no use on Sundays, but still requires to pay $500 for that day. Winter programs for the 2-month period equal $30,000 for the pool rental fees for these programs. Measure D paid for the pool, so why the 128% increase? It appears the board is maximizing income over costs. By doing this to the Granite Bay Gators, we've had to cut winter and fall programs because budget doesn't support it. Low income swimmer sponsorships are no longer. Decreased high schooler employment and leadership roles for the Great Gators have been eliminated. We currently have scholarships for leaving seniors are not an option, and high schoolers prepping for their spring season is non-existent. We currently have Granite Bay High School water polos in the playoff, and that's because of Cal Republic Water Polo. We have a nationally recognized swim program at Granite Bay High School because of these feeder programs. As the president of the Granite Bay Gators, can we or the board open a conversation about the fees related to these pools? Thank you.
To chat with Joe.
Perfect.
To get with Joe Landon, so we can begin that conversation. Okay, Donna, and then Melissa Jones, and then Michelle Tong.
Good evening, board. My name is Donna Sanguin. I'm the proud parent of a senior at Granite Bay High School. Her name is Sela Sanguin. She wanted to be here today. She couldn't, so she asked me to bring her message for her. She says, "Hello, board members. I hope you are doing well. I remain devoted to this cause," and by this cause she means the supplemental materials at Granite Bay. "I compel you all to have the trust in the abilities of our capable, compassionate educators who both choose materials and to teach them properly. Additionally, I hope you all understand the necessity of pieces which discuss topics of race, gender, violence, poverty, and war. These are all themes which drive so much of the world that we will inherit. This which foster balanced perspectives of tolerance and empathy. Thank you for your time. Have a restful Veterans Weekend. I'm also the proud wife of a veteran. I would like to add my own comments, which are that 67 works that were on the banning list are for AP Literature. And as you know, that's a college level course. In order to pass the AP Lit test, students need to be able to understand literary concepts and need to interpret works on a variety of themes and from a range of voices. My comments to the board is that if there are difficult themes that a parent does not want included in their students' teaching, that they please talk to their teacher and get an alternate lesson. We really believe that the teachers are amazing. They provide very high test scores and intelligent students, and we just want to let them do their job. Thank you.
And then Claire Tom.
Good evening. Briefly, I'm here to express my concern regarding the efforts to modify the process by which our teachers can select and use materials in the classroom, especially with regard to the English department. Many of us moved to this area because of the high-performing schools, high-performing public schools, as evidenced by the very high test scores at all of our schools. The English department in Granite Bay, which is the only school that I have experience with, is exceptional, especially the AP and IB instructors. It would be a grave mistake for this board to micromanage what and how our educators teach. They are the experts, they have integrity, and they are helping our students develop critical thinking skills. They are not indoctrinating students. They are hardworking and knowledgeable, and I support them, and I urge this board to support them. Thank you.
Michelle Tong, Claire Tong, and then Tamra Mahmood.
Here to speak regarding the process and subject of the approval of the supplemental materials that the GBHS English teachers have put forth to the Site Council and to SILT. First, I do not believe that it is up to the Site Council or SILT or even the board to approve supplemental materials. Those are materials that the teachers, the experts, have chosen to use to supplement the curriculum that the board has approved. To ask that the teachers have all supplemental materials approved stymies creativity and their integrity. The freedom to read is guaranteed by the Constitution. Those with faith in free people will stand firm on these constitutional guarantees of essential rights and will exercise the responsibilities that accompany these rights. It is in the public interest for teachers to make available the widest diversity of views and expressions, including those that are unorthodox or unpopular. The power of a democratic system to adapt to change is vastly strengthened by the freedom of its citizens, its students, to choose widely from among conflicting opinions offered freely to them. Our students deserve the opportunity to a diverse education, one that challenges them and takes them out of their comfort zone. The board itself believes in diversity and equity, as evidenced by Board Policy 0415. This policy states that the governing board believes that the diversity that exists among the district's community of students, staff, parents, guardians, and community members is integral to the district's vision, mission, and goals. Addressing the needs of the most marginalized leaders requires recognition of the inherent value of diversity and acknowledgement that educational excellence requires, a commitment to equity in the opportunities provided to students and the resulting outcomes. Thank you.
Michelle? I'm sorry, that was Michelle. Claire, and then, sorry, I forgot to move the card over. Claire, and then Tamara, and then Ramsey Mahmood.
The danger of a single story. The danger of a single idea and a single perspective is what does not allow us to connect with other humans. In my classes, I have read Half of the Yellow Sun, which is about the Nigerian Civil War, from the perspective of Chimamanda Adichie, who is Nigerian herself, and Night, which is written by a Holocaust survivor, Elie Wiesel, about his experiences. It is these stories that allow us to connect with people around the world and understand basic human emotions. I am a more compassionate person because I've had the opportunity to read poetry and novels that are not written by a single demographic. Is it so bad that students are learning to have more compassion? In my AP Lit classes, we are all of different ethnicities and gender identities, yet we are all able to have conversations about the same piece of literature. Each person in that class brings a different background and brings a multitude of different perspectives to that one piece of literature. Every day we are in that class, we all walk away with an eye-opening experience. And that experience is not that there's one way of thinking, but that there are multiple stories out there. If we want more balance in our English classes, then we should take a look at the demographics at Granite Bay High School. The balance should be representative of all ethnicities, sexual orientations, and genders at Granite Bay High School. 1/17 of the literature should be by Chinese authors, 1/17 by African American authors, 1/17 by Indian authors, 1/17 by European authors, or LGBTQIA+ authors. While I may be a senior who is graduating, I still have a brother who is a freshman, and I want him to have the same experience that I've had, and that is the ability to look beyond our race and connect with others.
Good evening, board. I'm here obviously following a fantastic act by one of our students. I am a mother of a Granite Bay High School graduate. I have a freshman there and a 5th grader that will be eventually attending that school. I have entrusted my children with the teachers at Granite Bay High School. They have been credentialed and trained and keep up on their professional units, and they're doing their jobs. And I think that we should all support them in doing that. They are public servants. We are on the verge of celebrating a holiday honoring public servants who have laid their life on the line, and unfortunately nowadays that also includes our teachers. We have seen many, many instances where our teachers are in the line of direct fire protecting students. So let's let our teachers do the job. Let's respect the role that they play and honor the training they've done to do that. Thank you.
Gayatri Batra.
Good evening. My name is Ramzi Mahmood. I'm a professor of civil engineering. I came to America in '78, so some of you maybe were babies. and this is a great country, you know, and what makes it stand out is its education. It's second to none. And I consider myself with authority. I'm in the teaching business, and also I came here and studied, and then through 2 of my sons went through Granite Bay, a granddaughter that finished, one started, the other one is coming through. It's a great school. This is what makes America great. Why? Because it creates critical thinkers. That's what it does. In my country, when I was there, former country, I should say, you cannot ask questions. There's a limit to what you can ask. And I think we need to trust our teachers. They are professionals. They are trained to be teachers. And this is biased opinion. It's a noble profession. They take care of our kids. So thank you.
Gary, then Gayatri, and then Rochelle Hodson.
Good evening. I'm Carrie Ortman. I have 2 children at Granite Bay High School, so there's a big Granite Bay contingent here. But I also speak as an alumni of Roseville High School a long, long time ago. So I myself benefited from the excellence of this district. I was able to go through Roseville High School, go on to college, go on to graduate school, and provide a great life for my children. And I am so grateful for the opportunities that I had as a result of that education. And I'm incredibly grateful that my children are getting to benefit from the excellent education provided here. I am also very concerned about what's going on with the material, the supplemental material process right now specifically. We have experts for a reason. I went to law school. Scott, I know you went to law school to become experts in a field, right? We have experts so that they can go learn those things, and then they bring their expertise back to the community and share that with people who chose to focus on other areas of expertise. Our teachers are our experts. They have trained, they have gotten the education, they have committed themselves to the classroom, which, as others have mentioned, is kind of a scary place in this day and age. And now we're telling them, we trust you to be in lockdowns with our children. We trust you to be there with them every day, more sometimes than we get to be with our kids. But we don't trust them with the actual academic growth and nurturing of our children. We don't trust them to be experts enough to pick the materials. I just really believe that we have experts for a reason. Our teachers are experts, and we should trust them and have faith in that. Thank you.
Rochelle Hodson, and then Jeff Gordon.
Hello, board members. Thank you for having me here. I'm following in the footsteps of these very eloquent speakers. My name is Gayatri Batra, and I have two sons at Granite Bay High School. I remember my son's second grade teacher at a parent-teacher conference when we walked in. She actually drew an isosceles triangle for him, and she pointed to the tip of the triangle, and she said, "This is you, and this is your parents, and this is me at the base of the triangle. We are here to support you. We are here to educate you and guide you as you grow." That image has always stayed in my mind. Our teachers, as you know, are a crucial part of our children's lives, and we need to collaborate with them. I would really like to urge some of the parents who have an issue with the English curriculum being taught, not to take a combative stance against the teachers and create an us versus them environment. It is completely counterproductive. These are credentialed teachers with years of experience. If they wish to supplement the curriculum with current, relevant subject matter, they should be able to do so. So Brigham Young University, Idaho recently published a statement that the objective of their English courses is to develop minds and spirits through works that have the potential to enrich and enable. Just as daily life teaches and refines us through the experience with opposites, so does literature by means of conflict. Because great literature and essays treat inherently difficult moral, philosophical, and social issues, they sometimes confront us with what is tragic and ugly in human experience, along with what is hopeful and beautiful. That is balance, since balance seems to be the buzzword right now. Thank you so much.
Okay, Rochelle, and then Jeff Gordon, and then Melissa McDonald.
Good evening. I'm also a Granite Bay parent and graduate. I'll say it, Carrie, class of 92, Roseville High. Go Tigers. Yeah. So I'm also here to talk about this newly implemented process, highly irregular process for reviewing supplemental curriculum, more specifically supplemental novels and visual texts, or also known as graphic novels, many of which are state and AP approved and have been taught in neighboring districts for decades. I've been teaching many of these books in a neighboring district for over 20 years. And I thought we had a board here who respected the work teachers do. Teachers have just come out of the most difficult 3 years of their careers, only to now be challenged in this district and mistrusted because of fear and rhetoric across the nation, and a group of parents who have decided to jump on the bandwagon now that you've given this opportunity to them. I think it was a mistake to get parents involved in curriculum selection. I don't want parents selecting or even giving input in my students' curriculum. I want credentialed teachers who have studied the literature and will be planning the lessons to select the works that will be studied and discussed with care. For a parent to stand in here and tell us that my child should read Candace Owens, that is not a work of literary merit and should not be studied in the classroom. If you want your child to read that, donate a copy to the library. In the list that was reviewed by parents, there were many misreadings, misinterpretations, and that is proof as to why parents should not be part of this conversation. Parents should be responsible for their own children and what they read with them, have discussions, and we have a process in this district for parents to deal with that at the site level, starting with teacher and site administration. Thank you.
Melissa McDonald, and hang on, I don't have my glasses. For forgive me, is it Shannon Catanella? Is it Shannon? Shannon, okay. Jeff.
Thanks for your time this evening. I've got one daughter that's a graduate of GBHS and two that are there right now. Regarding the book ban concept, a significant question here is, do we want to really educate and prepare our kids for the real world, or offer our kids a censored and limited version of what's really out there? After all, this is a public school district rather than private or parochial school, or for that matter, a faith-based homeschool program. Certainly those non-public options are out there for those that feel compelled to shield their kids from the realities presented in modern literature. Do we want our community to rank amongst the most educated and aware, or do we want to censor literature like is done in China, Russia, Iran, Saudi Arabia, or North Korea? An effort to censor the ideas presented in the already discussed reading list is a step towards hate, bigotry, and homophobia. There's already enough of that in our country. Can't we do a better job at keeping it out of our community? Those that want to restrict the discussed book list claim that they want to do so in an effort to achieve a better balance. Rather than censoring by shortening the list, might it be a better idea to actually broaden out the list to truly achieve and offer a fully balanced list of reading material? Thanks for your time.
And then Shannon, and then last speaker just wrote Meg.
Good evening, Board of Trustees. I have to say it's really awkward and strange to be on this side of the podium. I'm a trustee in Eureka Union School District, so I'm usually on your side. I'll keep it short. Thank you for having me. Nice to see you. Nice to see you, Marla. I'm used to seeing you in our district meetings. As a board member who has experience and has experienced the most difficult term, and thank you for your service, because I think we can all agree that COVID has been the hardest time to serve on a school board. I am well aware of our role as trustees to govern and not manage. And there's a really big difference between governing and managing, as we're all aware. So I urge you to govern and not to micromanage the supplemental curriculum process at Granite Bay High School or any other high school in this district. In Eureka Union, we don't do that. We trust our teachers. And I urge you, I have a sophomore right now at Granite Bay and another one coming up. I urge you to trust our teachers. 86% of our students at our high school are meeting or exceeding the ELA standards for the state of California. That is monumental. They're doing a great job. They're credentialed, experts. I have a PhD in education, and I don't presume to tell them how to do their job. So I really hope that you guys can give them the professional respect and value their integrity. It's really insulting as an educator to be told that you're indoctrinating somebody. That is not what our teachers are trying to do. They're trying to broaden our students' horizons, as we heard from one of our students today, and really make them more compassionate, critical thinkers who are going to go out and change the world in positive ways. Thank you for your time.
Shannon is next.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm going to quickly address three things. The integrity of the public school teachers, supplemental text excerpts reflecting current events, and California Ed Code. If the Granite Bay High School Site Council was a litmus test to show just how many students and families prefer a robust learning experience and trust our teachers, it certainly did the job. The news reported that the meeting was attended by two sides. Well, 250 of those were against second-guessing our teachers, and a whopping 5 argued for supervising their privileges and book banning. Just as the quote on the school homepage states, no man's knowledge here can go beyond his experience or her experience. For that reason, the board should be supporting, lifting up, and helping their staff share their knowledge. It's become painfully clear that we are all in need of some education, experience, and a good dose of humility. I'm beyond grateful to have teachers stretching the minds of our students, and that's the best way to find the true sense of self. And one of the main characteristics valued by historical leaders is empathy. We should all want our kids to be reflective on their lessons and see themselves in all sorts of ways. Also, it's important that the students see themselves reflected in the materials. There's a therapeutic practice called bibliotherapy. Biblio, as in the Latin term meaning paper, or small book. Reading specific pieces of literature and talking about them can offer new information, make sense of upsetting subjects, experience feelings of hope and contentment. After 2 years of student-centered social-emotional discussions, it should be noted that reading also helps with self-esteem. Everyone, for the first time ever, can access everything and every topic, and this should be a good thing. The board ultimately is the body that should be supporting, lifting up, and celebrating their staff. And if this district is ready to diminish the combined knowledge of the staff members and usher in parent input in place of doctoral degrees, then you have the California Ed Code. Article 2.7, no later than July 1st, 2021, California Ed Code states, the departments within each district shall periodically update the community resources for the support of LGBTQ pupils. Health and other curriculum materials that are inclusive and relevant to LGBTQ must be included. School set resources for the support of LGBTQ pupils include, but are not limited to, peer support, anti-bullying, complaint, and counseling services. Can we please move forward together?
Hey there, Meg Weiss. Sorry, I was running in late. I came tonight because I'm also troubled by what we've seen at Granite Bay High. Every single day, our teachers are called to build bridges between their students and the state standards. They are there to ensure that material is accessible for all students. Sometimes the board-approved material isn't enough to span the distance between a student and the standard. A list of board-approved curriculum does not see an individual student's needs, nor the needs of a specific class. That's why we have talented teachers. They know their students, they know the standards and the curriculum. When the approved curriculum does not reach a learner, a good teacher investigates new ways to build a bridge to reach that student. Teachers are professionals, and as professionals, they will seek ways to meet all learners by studying materials that have been approved, but also by consulting other teachers in their department, by calling friends in other districts to ask them for ideas, by working with their administrators, and by consulting a variety of resources to create curriculum to meet the needs of both students and the standards. They find a way because their job requires that they build the bridge to help every student access the standards. They don't have time to wait for board approval or site council approval because they see and respond to students' needs every single day. Let these teachers use any material they feel fit to meet the needs of their students. Stop telling them they can only build bridges out of lumber, because we have some very talented teachers and gifted bridge builders who may find a better way to build bridges with steel or stone or concrete. Treat them like professionals and allow them to find the best ways to build the bridges, because they're not here to teach curriculum, they're here to teach students. And I'm saying this because as you look at the process for curriculum approval, please don't be an obstacle to them doing their jobs. Keep in mind that you guys have placed obstacles in their way with the planned changes.
Okay. Let's speak your cards I have. Anybody else wish to address the board on any matter not on the agenda? Okay, we'll go ahead and close item 3.7. Item 4, consent agenda. We've had a request to pull item 4.12. Is there a motion to approve the balance of the consent agenda?
Motion to approve all 4.12.
Motion by Board Member Constant. Is there a second? Second by Board Member Hirota. Roll call vote, please.
Yes, students. Autumn Ostrom?
Yes.
Kate Benevento?
Yes.
Pete Constant?
Yes.
Marla France?
Yes.
Heidi Hall? Julie Hirota? Yes. And Scott Huber?
Yes. 4.12, approval of new and updated board bylaws, policies, administrative regulations, and exhibits. Julie, you got a question?
I had one clarification. My clarification was, why was 6 replaced with the new animals?
So we're recommending deletion of 2 versions because they are all included in the one that has been revised, and that is from the California School Boards Association recommendations and their gamut updates. And so what they don't actually have these other versions because it's all in the one, and that is why we're recommending these changes.
Okay. And then there was a lot of talk about the miniature horses a couple years ago.
Yes.
I follow this one very carefully. Then the other one, I don't remember which one it was in. I think I want to say it was in 4.218. It's just a consistency thing. So I noticed that there were Board of Trustees was struck, and then governing board was put in there. And I noticed that there's some inconsistencies on our policies. Some say Board of Trustees and some say Governing Board, and that's just a comment.
I think we're in the process of trying to get those all equal. So if some went through, we probably just missed it.
Yeah, there's some of them don't have it. I caught it on the ones that did, and then I went back. So, that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments or questions? If not, is there a motion to approve 4.12?
I move to approve.
Motion by Board Member Hirota. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Board Member Constant. Students, you in favor of 4.12?
Yes.
You like
Yes.
the policies? You've read them thoroughly, I assume.
Got it. Don't worry, I'll pass that test.
Guaranteed. I have no doubt.
I have faith in you.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstained? Motion carries. Okay. 5.1 RSEA report.
I'm just saying. All right. Thank you. You know, I do my best. Okay. So I would like to take a moment to thank all the faculty and staff who have served our country to keep us safe and free. As I looked over the list set out by the district office of all the people who are veterans, it is a powerful reminder that I enjoy, all that I have because of the people like them who served our country and continue to serve our community by working in our schools and keeping our children safe. That's really tough, sorry. Okay. I would also like to congratulate Marla for winning the election in District 4 board position this week and look forward to continuing to work with her as our board member. I am glad, however, the election cycle is over for another 6 months, or maybe less, depending. I'm trying to be optimistic that it's going to gear up again for the primaries and election cycle of 2024, because they're already making the noise in the press. But it's nice to have less election noise right now, although we still don't know all the results, but it's okay. Other than that, I really don't have much to report out on. I am glad to continue to work with the district on things that impact teachers and continue our work in partnership of mutual respect and collaboration. I actually really enjoyed all the parents tonight. Thank you. As well as that we are quickly wrapping up the semester. This is the part of the school year where all of a sudden we are only a few weeks away from being halfway over, and I'm still surprised after 16 years of working in this district at just how fast it sneaks up on me, because we only have 4.5 weeks left. And then it's Christmas, and then we start all over again. And then my last thing is for you guys. I wish everyone a peaceful Veterans Day and also a wonderful Thanksgiving full of friendship and family. And we are done. Thank you.
Can I tell you, I really appreciate the emails you send out on your, what do you call them, the Fun Friday news?
Oh, yeah, the
or
Good News Friday?
The Good News Friday, yeah. I mean, we got a special edition Thursday of that today, but thank you. I appreciate
Thanks.
the good news that comes out.
Yeah, and then the newsletter too. Yeah, right.
I'll send you our newsletter.
Yeah. Check out the Google Slides. It is some cute, fun stuff today. So.
All right, thank you very much. 5.2, Annual Performance Report on John Adams Academy.
Something that we're starting this year after working with staff and board members in reviewing our charter oversight role as a district. We do have 2 charter schools, as you know, that we authorize. And so this is a report filed for information on last year for John Adams Academy. Our staff appreciate working collegially with their staff. And this report particularly focuses on LCAP and fiscal oversight. Those will be kind of standard. And then the plan is each year to have a specific focus area in addition to these 2 areas. So we'll be working with New Pacific School. They have their ribbon cutting tonight. We'll be working with them this year for a report. And our intention is to bring these each fall for the prior year so that it can include test scores. It can include a variety of data for the whole school year prior. And so that's why we only have the 1 tonight, because New Pacific wasn't here last year. So happy to answer any questions, and this is an evolving process, but we have that collegial relationship to work through that together.
Questions?
A comment. I just like the format that this had, because it was quick and easy to understand, and all the findings and answers to it. It was very helpful. And it was very clear, and yeah, I like what I've read because it feels like a good partnership that is supportive towards common goals. So, thank you.
Level. I'm wondering, do we as you're examining their LCAT goals and
Great questions, and we are working with PCOE, the Placer County Office of Education, as well, to make sure that we're being comprehensive in our reviews and our expertise. It may be heavily on the high school side, but they are helping and consulting with us as well. And I also just need to give a specific shout out to Principal Lisa Voss, who is our charter school liaison and did the predominant heavy lifting of this work in the partnership with charter schools.
She's not here.
She had a prior commitment
Okay.
and had a previous engagement.
Any other questions? Let's see, no one turned in any speaker cards, so I assume there's no public comment on this matter. Let's just receive, it is, yep, okay. Item 6.1 we've already dealt with. 6.2, approval of MOU with California College Guidance Initiative.
Back this evening from last month to make sure we had a chance to respond to questions. We have had, in the meantime, a few other questions from parents in the community and board members, and so just wanted to have an opportunity to engage on that. The big picture for this partnership, and it's a recommendation with administration and counselors in particular, is that we partner with the state of California in this service. Now, you may know in recent history in Roseville Joint, we used to pay a heavy amount for Naviance. Some schools were using more than others. It's a similar program to that, where it provides college and career readiness lessons for students, some guidance, opportunity for research and finding out where I might be great at as a student, what careers might that translate into. Now the state is underwriting the cost, and so what used to cost districts funds, and you could still pay Naviance or other places, districts used to pay for California colleges, CCGI. Now the state, through grant funding and through its priority on what they call the Cradle to Career Initiative, is funding this instead of individual districts. So our intent in moving forward with this is multi-layered, but this program integrates all of the public community college systems. So the community colleges, California State University, University of California, as well as financial aid through the California Student Aid Commission for FAFSA and California DREAM Act. All of these entities are connected, and with this free no-cost partnership, we would be able to pre-validate and approve our student information for when they apply. So the information doesn't go out of the system unless a student chooses to apply, but it integrates those systems. And if a student, for example, applies to a California State University, this integration will allow their transcript to be pre-validated, and the admission counselor sees it as pre-validated rather than hand-entered and needing to be thoroughly validated. So that's the work that we're moving into with your approval. And it takes a little bit of time to do that integration and alignment of our system and theirs. So what we would intend is that with this approval, that will allow us to start that process, which would begin with a notification to our families and an opt-out language. So none of this is mandatory. It is recommended. You may know that as of this year, our seniors are required to complete FAFSA or the DREAM Act or have an active opt-out letter from parents, because that is part of that expectation. This all helps us integrate and monitor that. But there is opt-out language that we would start with for our families to have that option. We would spend the spring integrating systems and then be able to use this for the next school year. I'm happy to answer any other questions.
Any questions from board members?
Just a couple of clarifying questions. I want to go over just a couple things you said related to data transfer. So one is that there is an opt-out opportunity for parents that we will be notifying them. That's correct, right?
Correct.
And the second, I think I caught it when you said it, is data transfer is not automatic. It's only when a student initiates the use of the platform. Did I hear that properly?
So we would do a sharing of data with this platform. It's basically like we have Canvas, we have platforms that we integrate with, and it would stay there. It only goes out of that platform if the student initiates that connection with a third party, university.
And then in reading the contract, I just want to be clear, we are only providing, if this gets approved, we're only providing access to the data, but we retain full ownership and rights to the data, and we can recall the data at any time if we choose to. Is that correct?
That is correct.
I'll probably have some more comments after, but those were my questions.
So the MOU doesn't make it clear we have an opt-out.
Because they mandate it, we do. And that's part of our implementation of FERPA. So great question. So they're not forcing it on us. That's something that we do as a public school system. We have annual notifications. So this year we would expect it to be a special notification. And then moving forward, it would be part of those annual notifications that already have opt-out language for data privacy and all of the things that we do.
And will our students be using this in 9th grade? Will it start then?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, our school counselors have guidance lessons at all grade levels. And the idea is this will provide more access than just when our counselors are able to get in and talk to students, but it would be included in that for all grade levels.
Which is give you a heads up, because I forgot to give you a heads up on this one, but are social security numbers given to them?
No, we don't even collect social security numbers from our students, and we absolutely would not share them, but we don't even collect those.
Okay, good. Because having spent a year and a half of my life trying to clean up someone who falsified my identity and racked up a lot of debt, I can tell you that those numbers are really pivotal, and once it's out, it's out. So
I appreciate all those things you provided me.
Anyway, the other question I have is there a possibility to do, and it may not be possible, but is it possible to do the reverse of this, which is instead of an opt-out, do an opt-in?
It would be highly problematic to actually get this going. And so that's where there's free versions, there's other things that would really be that opt-in. Those don't have the validation that would go to, for example, the example I gave of California State University. But an opt-in, the systems aren't typically set up that way. So I don't know of anyone actually using CCGI. And some entire counties are using it with some great results. So we're looking at partnering with PCOE and doing some big pushes. I don't believe that would be successful in an opt-in.
Okay. We have a public speaker card, Christina Munoz.
I didn't want to stare at people's rears. Okay. So my name is Christina Munoz. I have a child at West Park High School, and I'm talking about the MOU. Super exciting topic. But this MOU is meant to bring awareness and utilization on the online planning tool in the K-12 districts as students prepare and finance college. But there's a few areas as it's written right now that has brought some concern. On page 2, the MOU says it allows the district to disclose student data to foundation without parental consent. And so that seems to be conflicting with what was just shared. In addition, there is further down on page 2, it says the foundation is responsible for directly contracting and compensating a third-party technology vendor for the continued operation and maintenance of the California Colleges.edu under a separate agreement. Has the Board of Trustees and Administrative vetted the third-party vendors? And then on page 3, the definition of student data shall mean any information contained in a student's education record maintained by or for the district. So the student data includes personally identifiable information. The meaning specified in FERPA Regulation 34 CFR subsection 99.3. At the beginning of the definition in section 2, it states this agreement shall have the meanings ascribed to them respectively in the definition section unless such terms as otherwise expressly defined in this agreement. Then in Exhibit B1, data collection on page 19, lists the following information collected. So this is what's unclear, if this is the only student data collected for the student's education record, because it seems to conflict with the definition as this is the umbrella. And then on page 6, section 5A, data ownership, education records provided by the district continue to be the property of and under the control of the district. Then in Exhibit A, page 16, section 4, modifications, if at any time district intends to notify the participating third parties access to student data and education records, district shall make a request to the foundation for approval in writing. So if the education records are property of the district, why would the district need to request approval for a modification? That doesn't make any sense. Then in page 17, because I'm running out of time, talks about section 5E, excess student data shall be used for the purpose of assisting the students in planning. What about kids that are choosing not to do college right after school? What about kids that are choosing to do trade school? What about kids that are choosing not to go to college in California? That's why I think it's beneficial to consider not forcing this on everybody and giving the option for parents and their students to determine what's best interest for them. And lastly, what is the liability risk for the district with sharing of data to third parties? This MOU has a foundation with zero liability and ownership. Has this been reviewed by the district's legal team? Thank you.
Seeing none, we'll close public comment and limit conversation among staff. Board members, any comments, thoughts, feelings? Yeah.
So, a couple things. One, I know you guys have heard me say this before, but I have concerns when we enter into contracts that don't follow the best practice of having a specific start date and a specific end date. And this particular contract is written in a manner where it's what's commonly referred to as an evergreen contract that just goes on until someone decides to exercise an option in the contract. And why that concerns me is, our governing boards are responsible for all contracts that are approved and the oversight of those contracts, but we also have turnover in our governing board. If we fast forward just a couple of meetings from now, there will only be one person on this board that's been here longer than 2 years. So if there were contracts that were approved by a previous board that had an evergreen contract, maybe none of us would have ever seen it and not even know that that contract is out there. So I know I brought this up with some other contracts that we've had before, but I would like to ask April, what are our options in relation to that evergreen status? I don't mind longer term defined contracts, like say 3 years. I don't mind options for renewal because those end up coming back before the governing board, but I'm just concerned about those things that go on into perpetuity that may never even be known by those who come after us.
Right. Thank you, Board Member Constant. I did get a chance to talk with the staff at CCGI, and they are open to having start and end dates. I share your interest. I don't think a 1 year would be reasonable because of the overlapping nature of the integration. So I think that maybe starting with a 3 year, and then our intention is to review annually. Because as you saw, there's still, we can end at any time. We own that data. We can make sure that everything is progressing and working the way we're expecting it to. So we'll be reviewing it annually, but they are open to that. We can certainly, with your direction and approval, we can make sure that that's part of the final version before signing.
Be helpful, and thanks for bringing up the review. I think that that's another thing that we need to operationalize as a ongoing basis, as a regular review of contracts, so that if there are those longer ones and we have rights to change, modify, terminate, that the board has an opportunity to discuss those and make a conscious decision. We're not going to exercise our termination, or we are going to exercise a renewal. I think it's just it'd be a good best practice for us to get into. I can tell you, with 5 kids of my own, 4 going through college applications and college at the same time, I hate the FAFSA form. And so, and there's nothing more frustrating than sitting with your kids as they're doing applications and re-putting the same information over, once in this college, once in this university. You go from one Cal State to another Cal State, and sometimes you have to start over. And then you go to a UC and you have to start over again. And what I seem to be seeing from this is a lot of that's going to go away because of the integration with the transcript data and sort of the review your data once and it flows, whether it's community college, state, Cal State system, or UC system. Am I understand that correctly?
Yes, and much of it will be, not all of it yet, right? They're still evolving themselves, and I do want to clarify, FAFSA and DREAM Act, they are not collecting any parent information, and you're not actually completing that through them, but it's a sync up where they just check the status. So is it completed or not? And it's included in the visibility so that we can say, okay, great, that senior has completed it. But we're not collecting any of that other stuff too. Just want to put that out there.
No, I was just expressing my frustration with FAFSA because
I hate to burst your bubble, but you're still going to have to complete FAFSA for each child.
But yes, many of the elements will be streamlined and continuing to make enhancements statewide on
for the last 2 years, they have not been allowing you to transfer the data, the parent data, to the other students. So you actually have to start it over each time. That's my problem, not yours. I think I had another question or comment, but I can't remember, so maybe I might ask to come back to me after some other question.
Not having gone through this college process yet, how does this I know?
They are not yet integrated with the Common App. That is on their list of moving towards, so it won't be only, but it started with the public California colleges, and that is coming. I don't know how soon.
No, just thanks for bringing it back.
Pete didn't want to, but I made him.
Oh, revisionist history.
And I apologize because I only saw this email 5 hours prior to the meeting that you had sent. But the question that was posed about if the education records are property of the district, why would the district need to request approval for a modification? Because I agree, it doesn't really make sense. So I'm just trying to, and I didn't get to look at this enough to make sense of it. So, do you know?
I do know some. There's probably more to it.
Right.
But I'll having worked with this system in another organization, and being a part of that integration piece, we send a variety of files, and not all of it has to do with student data. So one of the first pieces that we'll be doing is sending over our course catalog information, and syncing that up. And these are the courses that we provide in RJUHSD. These are the ones that are A through G and all of that. If we send something that's incorrect, then we need to fix it. And that's where we need to communicate and work with them as partners. So it's not that they're approving us making a change. Or if we send something that's out there, we're sending that and we need to make sure it's overwritten, that it's accurately changed. And so that's that partnership where in writing, we need to say, hey, we did this, we need a document, not just have, like, call up Sally, make this change for me. Well, that wouldn't be appropriate. This is data, this is secure, needs to be accurate. So any of that communication of correcting errors would be done in writing, and that's the intent of that piece as I understand it.
I even had a note and I couldn't find it. The MOU, just to be clear, because there's the discrepancy that's been pointed in the opt-out, opt-in type language. Just want to make clear my understanding, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. The MOU only governs our relationship with the vendor. It has no bearing on how we choose to opt in, opt out, or however we want to deal with that relationship with our students and their parents. Is that correct?
That is correct.
I think that resolves a lot of my concerns, that we still control that decision making, both as a district and as parents, that we get to make those decisions. So, thank you.
Student board members, questions, comments?
No, but if there was a way to make the process to apply to college easier, especially for people that don't have parents who exactly are able to help them, that would be great, and I think that's a great idea.
Seems like mine where the parents can do it.
Board members, what's your pleasure?
I'd be willing to make a motion, but it's going to include a little amendment along the way.
Okay.
Let me get back to my right screen here. I would make a motion that we approve the MOU with CCGI with an amendment to the contract length portion, the terms of the contract, and directing staff to ensure that there is a clear start date and an ending date for the initial contract of no longer than, say, 36 months or 3 years, and that there is language in the contract relating to the process for extending that contract, but to ensure that we don't delete any of our cancellation rights that we have in the existing contract, and then additionally ensure that this contract comes back on an annual basis for review of its implementation and feedback from staff.
Yeah, as in a consent. 3 years, but then it comes back on consent, maybe?
Well, it could if we by that time deem it to be routine.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? I do have a question. I think I followed you on the opt-in versus opt-out. Are we doing the opt-out, or are we having parents opt-in?
The MOU doesn't apply to how we're going to administer it, and I
Right.
think that we administer it as staff has disclosed. That I think that what I heard is that it'd be too difficult to do an opt-in, and that opt-out is our administrative preference. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So it would be to go along that line.
I just want that clear.
Okay.
Again, I'm of the opinion if it's unsaid, people will understand different things. And you said, hey, we determine whether it's opt-in or opt-out. I want to know, because they have to implement it tomorrow.
Right.
Well,
Right. Soon.
there you go, Monday. Okay, so we're going to go with an opt-out.
I would just make sure with April that the motion was clear.
Yes,
Okay.
and we will make sure that language is fixed before we sign.
Is that an annual opt-out? So I recall that paperwork, or I should say not paperwork anymore, but you know the boxes you click every year. If someone does not opt out in 9th grade, but then suddenly they realize if we own the data, can they opt out in 10th grade, and do we remove the data? I'm just thinking it through. If it's a
So we'll look to clarify in the process so that there are no surprises. As you saw, probably the parents have the right to delete everything, but we'll double check exactly how that works and make that clear. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? student board members, how would you vote on this?
I would probably vote yes because I really am not liking the college process and how tedious it is. It's like really easy to mess up, and I'm just really hoping like that nobody makes any little mess ups that affects their admittance.
Yeah. To simplify the whole global process. It may simplify some of it, and I hope that's the case. I do.
Yeah.
But- Yep. Okay, why don't we do a roll call vote?
Kate have an opportunity?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I saw the nodding of the head.
I vote yes as well, and I agree with Autumn that any simplifications, even if small, make a big difference.
Sorry about that. I thought I saw
You're
you nodding
fine.
head.
Okay, Pete Constant,
Yes.
Rhonda France, Heidi Hall,
Yes.
Julie Hirota,
Yes.
and Scott Huber.
Yes. 7.1, next regularly scheduled board meeting is on December 8th. It is a special meeting. So enjoy your Thanksgiving. Our next meeting normally would have fallen on Thanksgiving, and as much as you all, I'm sure, would want to come here on Thanksgiving to talk to us, we've canceled that meeting. Next meeting is December 8th. Then we'll have our reorganizational meeting on December 15th. Pending agenda items on 7.2, there's a list of them there. Surely we'll have more than that by the time the 8th rolls around. And Pete?
Just want to add, because I don't think I see it in here, but we do have the special work session where we're going to be talking about the curriculum issues that were discussed tonight. So just so that everyone knows, the board has scheduled a workshop session to talk about the curriculum process, essentially from A to Z, to make sure we have the information on what the process was, what the process could be, what are the rules and ed code and roles and responsibilities, and who has what role and who doesn't have what role, and to hear from all impacted parties, from teachers to parents to students, and of course us, so that we understand, so that can inform our policy going forward. And I don't remember the date, but it's in January.
It's in January.
Yeah.
Certainly. Yep. Okay. Thank you for that, Pete. All right. Board and staff comments. Why don't we start down here? Student board members, I know you guys already had an opportunity, but any other parting shots you want to give to us?
Nope.
No. Thank you.
Why don't we go with staff first? Joe.
Just as an update, we are moving forward on the district office construction project, and we're submitting, reached out for proposals from contractors. And so, good news, bad news, we received 10 proposals, which was a lot to go through. But actually, the bad news is I had to go through 10 proposals, which took a lot of effort. But really, it's good news because it gives us a lot more options. And so, we've been able to narrow that down to our top 3 contractors, which we're going to be interviewing next week. And we anticipate bringing a proposal to the board on that December 8th board meeting. So they are looking pretty good. So I think it's a more competitive environment than we've seen in the past, because we've received 10 people interested, where in the past we've not received nearly that many.
A lot of money that was the bad news. Well, the bad news is it's going to be way more than what we thought.
No, the bad news was just selfish for me.
And just to make sure, you're going to keep the boardroom nice and cozy like this, right? Nice and small and
Yeah.
cozy. Okay.
Maybe smaller, actually.
Brad.
Couple things. First of all, I loved hearing Dale Mortenson's story this evening, and I've known Dale for a long time. I didn't know that story, so that was wonderful, and an opportunity to support our armed services and recognize our veterans. Also, Granite Bay parents, I appreciate you telling your stories and the experiences that you had, that your students, your children had at Granite Bay High School, and taking the opportunity to lift up teachers tonight. That was very positive. I appreciate that. Also, we have 5 teams that are still in the football playoffs. That's right. So we have Nevada Union is going to travel to West Park, because West Park is hosting a playoff game tomorrow evening. Roseville is traveling to the apricot capital of the World, Patterson, California. Wood Creek gets to go up to Placer, and Antelope to Del Oro, and Granite Bay down to Modesto to Downey High School. So 5 still in the playoffs, all games tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. So encourage you, anybody, to go root on your team.
Okay, thank you. On Tuesday night, I had the privilege of joining Principal Fernandez at the Sierra College board meeting, where he presented on Independence High School's middle college program, and they were really impressed and appreciate that partnership, and he did a great job on that. So while we weren't able to get that joint meeting that we were wanting, we're still sharing the good news both directions, and enjoyed that evening. On October 28th, we had Unified Sports for the first time hosted at Oakmont High School, and thank you to Principal Dr. Govea. They have kickball at Oakmont, and students had a wonderful time, really school-wide, and of course all of our schools participating from across the district. So as of this year, every school is hosting, every one of our comp sites is hosting a specific event. And the next one is coming up December 1st at Wood Creek for basketball. So we encourage you to join. It's a great event. Students of all types and groups are having a wonderful time, and it's just incredible. So appreciate that. And then West Park, as we know, the Grove building is now in action, and their inaugural play in their new home opens tonight. I'll be getting to go see it tomorrow before the playoff game. So lots of great things happening. And those are just a few that we wanted to highlight. So thank you for that opportunity.
I just wanted to congratulate Marla. I know it was already said, but congratulations, and you've been a great appointed temporary board member, so we're excited to have you another 4 years. And then I wanted to thank Mrs. Voss, but she's not here tonight, but I got to go on a great tour with Dr. Moore and go see the adult school at night, which I'd never been at night. It made me feel like, wow, I go to bed way too early. Like there are students actively going to school at night when I'm in my pajamas. So it was very encouraging and inspiring, and the teachers are there, working until the wee hours of the night for me. So it was just a great tour. I loved seeing all of the classes in action and the teachers. Then, oh my gosh, the Clue play at Roseville High knocked our socks off. We are huge Clue fans in my house. And I was kind of managing the expectations as we drove in the car, right? Like, kids, understand it's not going to really be like the movie, and it's a play, and what are they going to be able to do? And they'd never been to a high school play. It was just amazing. And my kids talked about it for weeks. I mean, and our friends that came with us hadn't seen the movie before, so they all went home and watched the movie. Like, it was extraordinary. It really was. It touched us. We were so happy, and thank you for helping us do that. And then I've been sitting on the student government committee at Roseville High, and they talked to us about the pink rally and the Toys for Tots, and they were like, we need 6 Santas, because I asked them, what are your needs, what are your obstacles, what can I help you with? Like, we need 6 people to be Santas. I'm like, go talk to the people that were in Clue. Like, you have all these actors right here. So I don't know if they found their Santas, but it's been really fun working with the student government team, and that's about it. Like, we're rolling into Thanksgiving, so it's just been great to see what's going on at the schools. That's it.
I wanted to thank you, Dr. Moore, for taking me on a tour of the ethnic studies classes. I got to see 2 classrooms, West Park and Antelope, and it was great. I'll tell you why. So I went they use the Socratic method. They were studying the unionization of Alaska and Hawaii separate, and how it affected indigenous people. And they used the Socratic method, and it was incredible how the students engaged all the way from freshmen to seniors in the class. The questions they asked, how they conducted themselves better than most adults that I know who have differing opinions, which I thought was great. The teachers were amazing. And we we started out at West Park, and then we scurried over during the same period and went over to Antelope, and it was like we didn't miss a beat. It was like the class were happening simultaneously, same subject, just in two different schools. So, well done, kudos. I thought it was great. I would love to go back. And I interviewed the kids too, asked them, the students, sorry, not kids. Asked them what do they think of the class, why are they taking the class, got a whole bunch of different answers. Yeah, and the students are super cool. So that was good. Too bad I didn't get to go to all of the ones we had planned. So then the next thing tomorrow's going to be a fun day to me. I am going to Disneyland to watch the Wood Creek High School marching band march down Main Street. I am flying down in the morning, flying back. Very fortunate to be able to do that. My son's in the parade, but so are many other students in the parade. So I'm super excited to watch that happen as his senior year of a band member at Wood Creek High School. So anyway, I really appreciate all what the band does too, because these guys and all the bands across our district, the band directors put in so much work, and so do the parents. And it's just like, I can't, how much they give, along with all performing arts. I mean, it's just hours and hours, and it's for the love of the art and the kids. And so, I'm very thankful for that. That's it.
Well, I appreciate the well wishes after Tuesday, but they're still counting votes, so I'm tempered. But I'll take your nice comments. I am honored to have participated in just being able to vote for the partnership with the Armed Forces for making sure that they can always come on campus and have access. My brother went into the Marines right after high school, and it was probably the best thing that he did for. It was the right path for him, and we just need to be open to different opportunities. Next week, I also get to go down for a marching band performance, but I think Disneyland sounds a little bit more fun. But I don't know how they managed to do that. But I'm also looking forward to, I get to be a chaperone and sit on the bus for 7 hours. But I know, sucker is written all over my forehead right now. I know. Sucker, yes. And I was also informed today by my daughter that there's only 22 more days of school in this semester. So enjoy your Thanksgiving, all the teachers and the admins, because I know you're all working really hard to finish off a great semester.
I was just sitting here thinking, I wish I had as much energy as Heidi. She put so much energy into her comments, and I just don't have it. So, yes. I really don't have anything this month. I'm just happy to be here, and congratulations. I've already told you that a dozen times. So,
Thank you, Pete. I will, Pete. You and I can join in on this one. We were at the ribbon cutting at the Grove Building, and I'm going to combine the band comment and all that. There was a drum line, and there is nothing like a solid drum line. I mean, it was fantastic. The energy there was great. The building is just beautiful. I'm gonna pivot the play that's at West Park High School and the one clue that's at Roseville High School. At West Park, it's Almost Maine. Kicking off tomorrow 4 p.m. and then they've got regular shows. I was on a cruise ship not too long ago, and when you would go watch their plays, you know, the cruise director would come out and say, "Oh, we have these Broadway quality shows." And I will tell you candidly, our high school plays are better. So if that's Broadway quality, we got Broadway quality. I mean, they really are just, they're really good. And the students, about 4 weeks ago when I toured Granite Bay High School, when I went, when it wasn't a tour, we were visiting some classrooms. We walked through a construction site for the play. And there was an older gentleman that was there who apparently lives there because he's there all the time building stuff. and he volunteers, and he does it because he loves it. And you know, the impact that makes on students' lives. I still remember a play that I was in high school. I still remember the nervous feelings I had before going out. I still remember all that stuff. I don't remember a single line. Nothing. I can't even tell you the name of the play. But I still remember the nervousness, you know, and the feelings of, you know, once it was over, it's like, I nailed it. You know, what I did or didn't, who knows. Anyway, I want to say a special thank you to the veterans. It is meaningful to me, and I appreciate all those who serve. And much like our RSEA update, it hits you hard. We take a lot of freedoms for granted in this country, and I hope we don't do that. Lastly, I do want to say congratulations, Marla. Congratulations. I'm hopeful that the count will stay the same. I'm not going to jinx it by saying you're in, but I'm hopeful the count stays the same. I anticipate it will. But regardless, it has been a pleasure serving with you. And I say that because I only have like 4 weeks left. And it has been a pleasure serving with you. I want to congratulate also Kim for being selected as the new executive assistant to the superintendent. Sadly, you will not have the pleasure of dealing with my craziness. That's probably good for you. But I also want to congratulate Barbara. I'm only mildly jealous that she gets to retire and leave us in the sunset. They're heading off into the sunset. But, however, Barbara, I do understand they will let us come back as many times as we want and pull as many speaker cards as we want. So we can sit here and we can talk as much as we want about every item.
90 seconds.
Yep.
By the way, your time's up.
I know my time. My time is long since up. I do want to just as lastly say, I have served on a school board. Many of you have heard this before. For about 18 years, 16 years here, and 2.5 years in the Roseville City School District. It is noble work. It is. It has to be noble because the compensation sucks, and that's not why any of us do it. We do it because we get to impact really the future, and we do it for its students and for your colleagues. And it has been my pleasure to serve with each of you, and I will miss the human interaction. Man, I won't miss the meetings. Meeting adjourned. Thank you for coming.